Okay, back with you on the Bronx Buzz. And we thank Nick for joining us. And it kind of interfaces very well with this segment because we have Noah, I'm going to try to pronounce it, Hefele is how he pronounces his last name, who is the volunteer coordinator at the Van Cortlandt Park Alliance, but an artist of extraordinary talent. And nice to see you, Noel.
Uh, Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
So Noel has the Daylighting Tibbetts Brook in Plein Air series, which is showing now through the 29th of March at the Kingsridge Riverdale Van Cortlandt um, uh, Development Corporation in their little gallery. Before we show your artwork and tell the story, I want to show this video now. I walk through Van Cortlandt Park all the time. Noel is the volunteer coordinator, and look who I ran into in the park. Let's take a quick look. Just say your name and who you are, and I see the Van Cortlandt Park Alliance on
Yes,
the display. What are you doing today here at the Enslaved People's Burying Place?
I'm Noel from the Van Cortlandt Park Alliance. I'm the volunteer coordinator, and today we're working on the enslaved people's burial ground. We're tidying it up, getting it ready for winter.
And why do you need to get it ready for winter?
We'd like to give it just a kind of last. This is our last push of the season. So we'd like to take the opportunity to spread some wood chips out, which can provide some nutrients for the soil over the winter. It can also help with water retention for the soil. And we're doing a bit of invasive species control in the back there with a group of French exchange students from the Lehman College.
Very nice. And these guys were working with you as you just walked away?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks, Noel, for helping us save the world.
Thank you, Gary.
All right, there you go. That was in November before the winter, and you were getting ready. So I had no idea at that time that you were an artist. I mean, I knew you through the Van Cortlandt Park Alliance. I knew you through the volunteer, getting the volunteers in and all that, and all this incredible work that you do in the park. But you've been an artist all along.
Sure. Yes.
Tell me about how you got started doing what you do. We can see it all around you.
Well, I would say had the bug all my life. I grew up, I was interested in comic books, and there was a kid in my elementary school who just could draw so well that I would always look on in envy. I would take his placemats after the birthday cupcake parties and try to copy and learn
Wow.
how he drew, what he drew.
That's just so it's cute. That's just beautiful that you were just drawn to say, "Wow, that is what I want to do." And have you been painting throughout that period? Throughout essentially your whole life till now?
Yes,
Wow.
trained as an artist in undergrad, and I actually got my master's degree in arts and ecology. So the two elements have crossed over for me.
You clearly enjoy, and we can tell from the painting that's behind you, and of course we're going to see some incredible work. um, you're inspired by the natural ground around you, especially in the beautiful, wonderful Van Cortlandt Park.
Yes, and this is the parade ground itself.
Wow.
I,
I've seen people out there painting. I've never seen you painting. Do you do it from memory, or do you do it from photograph, or do you actually set up an easel out there in the park?
well, for the plein air paintings, I take the easel out, but I also do have a studio set up where I work from the photographs and
Wow.
sketches that I collect when I'm
Um,
walking.
let's talk about this exhibit. There was a wonderful opening, and tons of people were there. Explain why the daylighting project. Now, I can just briefly explain it. It's they're going to carve out a lot of the land that kind of settled in when they put down the railroad tracks, and then make it so that Tibbetts Brook can flow all the way to the Harlem River. What inspired you about that to create this incredible gallery work that you've done?
Well, daylighting itself is a concept that just captivates the imagination, where unburying a stream that was buried in the past as a way to correct an ecological wrong is just a captivating idea. The author Simon Schama said that landscapes are culture first and then nature. So I was quite set on bringing this landscape that seems to be on the cusp of transformation, slightly forgotten, back into the cultural realm through the way that I could contribute, which is painting.
By representing it. So I want to just get started showing the artwork. It's excellent artwork, but then when you realize the significance of it, I mean, certainly, I love the park, and I'm a board member on the Van Cortlandt Park Alliance. So this is very important to me, but it also explains the story. So Anderson's got some photos of some of your work. Let's take a look.
Great.
Okay, so what is this?
This is Hester and Piero's Mill Pond.
Formerly Van Cortlandt Lake, which many people know it by.
Correct. And I was sitting right there on the bench, painting with the French easel, and interacting with whoever would stop by to chat.
Right. All watercolors?
All watercolors.
Right. All right, let's take another look at another. And where is this?
Area is at the border of Van Cortlandt Park, and where it transitions into the old Putnam Railroad. This is under the bridge of Van Cortlandt Avenue.
Van Cortlandt Avenue West, probably,
West.
right? And then so we're facing now down, and if you keep going down, you'll go into Target and all those areas down there, that shopping center. But this is the area that's going to be, kind of dug out, right? That's where the Tibbetts Brook is going to flow. Let's keep going. Let's take a look at more. I love this picture, and I know exactly where it is, but you can explain it.
Yes, this is the Broadway drain, where the fresh water of the lake gets sent into the Broadway sewer, which then goes to our sewage treatment plants, unnecessarily sending millions of gallons of fresh water to the treatment
treatment plants. What I like about that, and it like your own name, when you go by there, in plain language, it stinks. and the reason that it stinks is because what you described, we're putting fresh water into the waste stream. It just makes like zero sense. And so all of that is going to be dug out and created into a waterway and parkland and everything else. Exciting. We have a couple more, I think, Anderson. Okay, now we're going down the highway, aren't we?
This one is particularly notable because a couple approached me as I was packing up for the day and said that they were watching me paint, and they would like to purchase it because this is the view from their apartment window.
Their apartment. So now this is looking across the Deegan. Do I have that right?
Correct.
Looking across the Deegan, and that green space is ultimately going to be a water, a river, a stream, the brook, Tibbetts Brook,
A new public park.
And a new public park. Wow, that's exciting. I lost count of how many. I think we may have one more. Let's see, one or two more.
No, this is from the top of the Target parking lot down in Hill, looking towards where the mouth of Tibbetts Brook would historically have gone, or where we hope the newly daylighted
brook will flow into the Harlem River. What I just love about this whole project and the work, and if you go to, I guess they call it the 550 gallery, right? Because that's where it is, over there, right off Riverdale Avenue. If you go in there, you get the story, right? And was that in your intent, or did it just kind of turn out that way? Like, well, I guess I'll paint these pictures, and then you realized afterwards, oh, wow, look at this. Or did you specifically go out and say, I want to represent what's going to happen with Tibbetts Brook and the daylighting of it?
Well, I had intended to go out and capture from wherever I could. And each day I headed out looking for the particular place to paint. And the discovery process unfolded in real time. I would like to also invite folks to check out the writing that accompanies each painting, available on my website. And this writing also serves to capture a portrait of the community, the observations, the historical research that I coupled with each painting as I went about kind of discovering the former estuary that this landscape once was.
We should mention, I mean, we've only shown 5. I don't know how many pictures, I almost said
15 in
photographs.
total.
There are 15 in total. One of the things that because I did go to your website, and one of the things that I learned from being at that website is that there's a personal aspect of this for you. There's a note here about the artist's family without me reading it. Why don't you tell us what that is?
Oh, sure. So I was born and raised in Connecticut, but my father grew up on Dunwoody Street, just about 3.5 miles north of here, in Yonkers, still in the Tibbetts watershed. And my grandfather used to commute along the old Putnam Railroad down to West 4th at a time. So
wow. So the removal of course, the railroad over there has been defunct for many years, but the removal of those tracks, that's kind of part of your family, like this. It's more than just you representing something that you wanted to represent. Is a personal thing here.
I felt pulled back to the landscape in a way that that surprised me.
Wow. Listen, we got to run, but check out the gallery, which is taking place through the end of the month over there at KRVC, the King Ridge Riverdale Van Cortlandt Development Corporation. And one thing we do want to mention for our friends at the Van Cortlandt Park Alliance, on Thursday, May 16th, will be what they call the Springtime Shindig, with cocktails and food and everything else, honoring, in fact, the daylighting Tibbetts Brook team, among others. And so it all comes together.
Happy to report that the paintings will be on view
at there as well. Listen, you, Noel, I always mispronounce your name, Hefele? Hefele, okay, is just one of the great people in the Bronx. You just do so much. We showed you in the park and what you do there, but then this representing one of the most important environmental projects in our history.
Thank you so much.
Great, thank you. And that, folks, will do it. We thank Nick from Cranes for joining us, and we thank Noel, and we thank you too. And if the curtain don't fall, the creek don't rise, which has something to do with the daylighting of Tibbetts Brook. I'll see you next week. Good night.